Hello from the basement. There's the man of the hour, Josh Allen, and there's Jared Goff, who also had a decent game. But Josh Allen, if I were a fan, Josh Allen would be my favorite player. I've said it time and time again. Loves how he represents where I'm from, the 559 in the San Joaquin Valley. I'm watching Buffalo put the finishing touches on a big win over Detroit, and every single week I make my updated Super Bowl prediction. It had been Buffalo and Philadelphia, and that is not changing. The only two fully complete teams in the NFL right now are the Bills and the Eagles. This is Ben Baldwin's website, and this is Ben Baldwin's XY chart. So as you can see here, upper right is Detroit and Buffalo, but the problem is that this is not Detroit right now. Like, Detroit is more like down here. They're more down where Washington is. Because the defense everybody's hurt. I said it back when Aiden Hutchinson got hurt. A little bit after that, the exact words were, and this is a while ago now, October 27th, Lions can certainly score, but especially without Hutchinson, they will be constantly vulnerable to losing shootouts against good teams. Well, what happened here? It's 48-35. Probably going to end that way. Maybe they score a garbage time touchdown, but they're about to lose a shootout against who I think is the best team in football, the Buffalo Bills. The Lions just don't have the defensive firepower to be considered a top-tier team. Now, Philadelphia has won 10 straight games. They beat the Steelers today. And I think that they didn't even win the turnover margin in that game. Early on, Philadelphia had more giveaways than Pittsburgh, and they were up by 2 possessions. So that shows you the strength of Philly. Ever since week 4, they've doubled down on the run game. They've gone from running on like 42% of snaps to 62% of snaps. Saquon Barkley is getting MVP chance. They remind me a lot of a team like the 2022 49ers, who ironically Philadelphia was able to beat after Brock Purdy got hurt in Philly in the NFC Championship game. But with Barkley infusing that team with the multi-dimensional force on the ground, and with that defense having reloaded with some good young players and really rounding into form at the right time, Philly looks like the more complete team than Detroit, and Buffalo looks like the most complete team in the NFL. Josh Allen, I mean, it's been awesome to see him develop over time from physical specimen coming out of Wyoming and Reedley College before that. Shout out to Reedley College. To somebody who's just got full mastery of the intricacies of the quarterback position. And they called it off, but he had what should have been a touchdown throw, but there was a holding where there was a free rusher and he pumped it, faked his way, passed the free rusher, ran straight up into the A gap, and then flipped the ball up like a little granny-style free throw for a touchdown pass. And then he was running off the field, pumping his fist before the pass was even caught. I mean, it was a Michael Jordan type of play. He is that type of player, and when you see the Chiefs are, I get it, they're 13-1, but that is an ailing football team. Patrick Mahomes, they said he was being carted around after the game. Injured ankle, and even with a healthy ankle, they haven't scored over 30 points yet this season. The Chiefs are one of 4 teams in the NFL to not have scored 30 points. All the other teams that haven't done that are terrible. So Kansas City has been winning close games, winning ugly games, but Buffalo is blowing the doors off of people. So I think Buffalo is the better team in the AFC. And now Buffalo is making a hard charge at that number 1 seed. I get it that Kansas City would have to lose a couple times for Buffalo to pull into the tie, but Buffalo would have the tiebreaker. But anything really is possible right now with the health of Patrick Mahomes, or lack thereof, for Kansas City. Schedule coming up for the Chiefs over the last 3 games of the season. Houston Texans, it's a losable game for Kansas City. At Pittsburgh, that's a losable game. At Denver, those are all losable games, especially if Patrick Mahomes is not 100%. So the Buffalo Bills are in really, really good position in the AFC to make a potential late run here. As we mentioned, Philadelphia looking really good in the NFC. Detroit picking up the second loss now. Philadelphia keeps on winning. Number 1 seed in the NFC up for grabs. And life's going to be a lot harder for the Detroit Lions if they have to go through the road. Jared Goff is just not at this top tier level of somebody obviously like Josh Allen that we saw today. But I think, we even saw Jared Goff's limitations last year against the 49ers. It wasn't a great 49ers defense in the NFC Championship game. He is not great when structure breaks down. And today, I mean, Detroit found themselves down 3 scores despite the fact they only turned the ball over once. It wasn't like they got blown out of the building because of a bunch of turnovers. Buffalo was just better, and it was better mainly because Detroit defensively is paper right now. I mean, it was the Bills were moving the ball against air, but I mean, if the Lions were going to need an ultra physical, game dominating presence at quarterback if they were going to stay in this game, and there's hardly anybody in the history of football that would have been able to do that. Maybe Josh Allen playing the way that he is right now could have done that, but the Lions just have to be a more balanced football team, and I don't think that they quite have that. And I think even when they're firing at their best against a team like the Bills, it would be an issue because whoever can get pressure on Jared Goff and at least reasonably slow down the run to be able to get onto that platform of pass rushing pressure. As I said, we saw it last year in the NFC Championship game. Jared Goff under pressure is not the same quarterback as Jared Goff from a clean pocket. And the difference between those two Jared Goffs is wider than it is for most QBs. So anyway, quick run through the league. The Bucks go into SoFi and just annihilate the Chargers 40-17. One of the more surprising results, but Baker Mayfield has quietly been having a good year. A lot of guys hurt around him. So the Bucks making this late charge. And fascinating to see a Jim Harbaugh defense that had been ranked at the top of the league give up 40 points. But with some receivers back, like Mike Evans for Tampa Bay, things looking a lot better for them. Remember, that was the team that the 49ers went in and beat, although Tampa was missing some of its top wideouts coming out of the bye week. The Broncos, 31, Colts, 13. Some crazy defensive touchdown in that game. And Bo Nix, obviously, he keeps on rolling. The Cardinals beat the Patriots. Boring game, 30-17. And the two that I just talked about, Detroit and Buffalo with the Bills over the Lions, and then the Philadelphia Eagles over the Steelers. So Bills, Eagles. That is this week's Super Bowl prediction. And obviously, that wasn't going to change based on the results today, although the results tonight do intrigue me. We're going to get to see the Packers and the Seahawks. And then tomorrow we get to see the Vikings play. They play the Bears. If there are teams that could potentially join the Bills and the Eagles in the very top tier in the upper right of that chart that I showed you, Green Bay and Minnesota really intrigue me. Minnesota, Sam Darnold will need to stay hot, and Green Bay would Jordan Love would have to be consistent, and I think he's generally been, and the defense would have to keep on improving. So we get to see the Packers and the Seahawks, and then we get to see the Vikings tomorrow, two teams that might be able to join that true contender fray. All right, guys, time for dinner. We'll talk to you soon.